I would have been a bad person had success had come to me so early. I remember my 30th birthday party. I refer to it as the best day of my life. And Joe's always pretty offended by that. But I still remember this 30th birthday party. My sweet Joe surprised me with this. But I mean, everybody was there. And I remember this party just being this incredible night with old friends and new friends and my wife and family. I mean, all mixed together in this perfect pot. But I remember the next day, my parents were kind of wrapping up and leaving, and they came over and they said, "Hey, Chip, does it hurt your feelings for some of your old friends to come over like that?" And I was almost like taken aback. I was like, "Why would that hurt my feelings, Mom? That was like the best day of my life. What?" And she was like, "Well, you had to have noticed that 2 or 3 of those kids that you thought you were going to be at least on par with, if not like their bosses, they all drove up in cars that are as valuable as the house you live in. Like, surely that dawned on you." And I swear to God, it hadn't. I thought I was doing all these things. I had 10 or 15 rental properties. We were flipping a few of these. I was doing this small business and this small business. Mom kind of runs that thought past me. And it was almost like it dawned on me in this pretty sad way. Like, man, I thought I would have been further in my career by now. And I just want to encourage those of you that are listening that it's just like, this stuff doesn't typically happen overnight. And so from that point, I just started remembering, just kind of noticing as our career evolved. And I mean, it evolved quickly in a positive way, but then the real estate crash really affected Joe and I, because we had a lot of irons in the fire at exactly the worst time imaginable. And that 08, 09, 2010 kind of crash occurred in our literal backyard. And I mean, it almost bankrupted Joe and I always joke, it's like, I think if we didn't have enough stuff to actually declare bankruptcy, everybody was just like, "Bro, you're not going to make it. You know, this isn't going to work. A and B are not equaling C." And so it was almost a 2-year period to kind of dig ourselves out of what felt like an enormous crater, an enormous hole. And then all of a sudden, magically, like God knew what he was doing, Fixer Upper came right on the tail end of, I'd say there were 2 years of real hardship, to where Joe and I were literally doing the rice and beans, very frugal, trying to pay off debts, trying to dig ourselves out of this, what felt like this overwhelming circumstance that we had found ourselves in. And about 6 or 12 months from that point, Fixer Upper, it was actually a production company, and they called and said, "Hey, can we feature your family? We love what you're doing. We'd like to follow you around on a couple of shows." We had a couple of projects. We had no earthly idea about television or anything about it. We were just like, who are these people? I truly thought it was a scam. I thought it was like one of these things to where you were going to send somebody $5,000 and you were going to inherit, some, Middle Eastern fortune or something like that. I thought literally it was that much of a scam. But all that to say was like, we got to that place and we said yes to that little opportunity, and they came down. They were real people. We connected with them in a lot of really cool ways, and we started building what eventually became Fixer Upper. But had that happened in my world, maybe 10 years prior, 15 years prior, I don't think I would have been a great human being, because I really got to learn so clearly humility and how money really works.